Hi. Are you bored? Well, so am I! In that case, welcome fellow squids, Octo kids, and everything in between to a whole lot of useless Splatoon information you probably don't even need. My name is Krissy, and let's dive right in. Pun intended. Splatoon 2's Octo expansion was announced on March 8th of 2018. The number 8's significance is so powerful that they even released a Japan-exclusive physical version on October 8th of 2021. And they ate it right up too! In Octo expansion, Deadfish's songs are numbered, but some oddly appear to be skipped. Song numbers 3, 7, 10, 15, 17, and 18. If you add said numbers and divide them by the total of songs Deadfish has composed, it adds up to the number 8. In Splatoon 1 and 2, the characters were seen with smartphones that look like this. Now in Splatoon 3, they are flip phones. And speaking of evolving backwards, they brought back the dab, too. Dab on the haters! Dab on the haters in 2026! And speaking of evolution, spoilers, the main catalyst for the anthropomorphism are these crystals that dissolved into water after a freak accident where human scientists were trying to escape a simulated reality underground. This simulated world in particular has walls that are lined with the crystals and contain human thoughts and feelings. The marine animals absorb them all up and turn them into the iconic characters we know from the game. Did you know there's a Splatoon Jesus? Yeah! And a Bible too! It's this guy! And the Bible's called the Book of Madai if you ever wanted to have it for future reference, or if you wanted to start a religion called the Book of Madai. Go ahead, do you? Pearl wanted to be a singer, but her singing was so bad that the speakers literally broke. Seems like that came in handy, huh? Splatoon was originally going to be a Mario spin-off. Yeah, imagine Yoshi with a Glock pulling wet 90s on salt spray rig. In Splatoon 2, you can actually see the Inkopolis Tower from Inkopolis Square. According to a post on Reddit, the shirt Jalfonso wears on Tuesdays translates to f you. The mem cakes in Octo expansion, although seem to resemble those $10 scented erasers you get at the book fair in middle school, are actually based on kamaboko, which are a type of fish cake that is processed into fish paste and turned into little shapes. You ever seen those little white flour things in your ramen bowl? Or if you've ever seen this emoji? Yeah, that's called a Narutomaki, and it is a type of kamaboko. In Splatoon 2 Octo expansion, Agent 3's ink tank appears to be missing. Apparently, some Inklings and Octolings have boobs. The artwork of Squid Beats 2 and Splatoon 2 shows an Inkling girl with some large Inkzukas. And I always wondered why Shiver wears a sarashi, as it's cloth used to bind the breasts. Although they could just be ink sacs. The Splatoon series is primarily made up of developers, producers, and directors from the Animal Crossing series. Both series are developed by Nintendo Planning and Development Group No. 5. Well, that explains a lot now that I'm thinking about it. And you know what? I actually might have a video idea for later. So. Pearl was originally going to be an Octoling. Did you know the voice actress for Marina, Alice Peralta, used to work at McDonald's? Did you know the Squid Sisters almost look like this? These are some of their concept designs from the Splatoon 1 art book. This one is personally my favorite design, as I like the Japanese festival vibe it gives off, along with the pants and the boots. She's also wearing a sarashi just like Shiver. The Splatoon art books tell us a lot about how their world works. According to the art book from the first game, Blackbelly Skate Park is government funded, which means Splatoon has a governing system. Did you know the Inklings are connoisseurs for fruit? Supposedly 30 years ago, there was the squid fin lemon fruit diet all of the squid kids were on, and naturally, they brought the craze back. Also, according to the book, they have a preference for sour fruits. Ever wondered how tall exactly the Inklings and Octolings are? This is Agent 8 next to what appears to be a very tall door. Or they're just too short to reach the doorknob. So there's your answer. See, you can give them little head pats. Inklings are cannibals. In an interview with the creator of Splatoon, Hisashi Nogami, he states that the squids from our world, aka the ones in the ocean, also exist in the Splatoon world. He very vaguely states that the food chain still exists, so it's probably normal for them to eat their own species. In Splatoon 1, if you were joining a private battle, you can play the calamari incantation with the number pad. Alright, here we go. Yes, I did it! In an earlier rendition of Flounder Heights, there were seesaws. There is a piece of unused gear in Splatoon 2 that appears to be a pink visor with a bunny pin. This piece of gear dates back to the rabbit prototypes that were originally going to be the playable characters until replaced with Inklings. There is a ton of unused gear in early files of Splatoon 1 in Super Mario Maker for some reason, such as these. Though not explicitly mentioned, it's rumored that Marina and Harmony are somewhere on the neurodivergent spectrum, and as someone who has both ADHD and autism, I find this pretty cool. Marina stated during the Mayo vs. Ketchup Splatfest that she doesn't like mayo due to the texture. Avoidance of certain foods or clothing due to the texture is a common sign with those who have sensory processing disorder, which is usually linked to those on the neurodivergent spectrum. For me, it is goddamn popsicle sticks. I hate biting and holding them so much. Also, like when I touch paper when my hands come out of the shower, it's god awful. She seems also to be quite knowledgeable about technology and engineering, almost to the point of an obsession. This is another key sign. I feel you, Marina. My current obsession is Splatoon, and that's why I'm making a channel about it. Harmony is rumored to have autism. She is described as having peculiar movements, speaking in a loose manner, lacking motivation, and can be seen doing the raptor hands pose, something seen in autistic people and suggests to be a sensory-seeking behavior. When entering Hotlantis, she'll be seen fidgeting and playing with an Ultra Hand toy and not even pay attention to the player. And the first time I saw Harmony doing this, by the way, I just fell in love with it because I do it all the time. Like, I'm technically fidgeting with my little bracelet here as I'm recording, because it helps me and it kind of self-soothes. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool. It turns out Agents 3, Agent 4, and New Agent 3 have Candid names. Agent 3's name is either Carrie or John, Agent 4's name is Alice, and New Agent 3's name is Veronica. And all their names are found in the Splatoon Directs, by the way. According to the official Splatoon 2 relationship chart, it seems the Judd kitties have some rather interesting intentions towards our land-dwelling oceanic friends. In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the Inklings can survive being underwater. Also in Super Mario Maker, if Mario changes into any of the Inkling or Squid Sister costumes, in underwater levels he can swim as the squid form. In Smash Bros. Ultimate, Inkling will be seen drowning in the water instead of dissolving. Also in the Splatoon manga series, it's stated the reason Inklings don't like water is because they don't know how to swim. In Canada for a limited time, sold Splatoon-themed frozen yogurt. I actually experienced this myself and I got the Inkberry one. They even had a Wii U hooked up where people can play Splatoon and enjoy their froyos. Orion from the Chirpy Chips wears a shirt that is a reference to the Pink Floyd album Dark Side of the Moon. Nudibranches in the Splatoon universe are seen as pets. This piece of artwork shows what appears to be an Inkling taking their pet Nudibranch on a walk. There is a missing Nudibranch poster hung up in Inkopolis Square, much like a missing pet poster. The author of the Attack on Titan spin-off series, Spoof on Titan, Hunori, contributed some artwork for Splatoon 1 during E3 of 2014. The Super Mario Sunshine boss, Phantom Manta, is extremely similar to Big Man's boss fight in Splatoon 3. If you stand by the train in Splatoon 1, you can hear a jingle version of the Calamari incantation. As I mentioned before, Splatoon was created by some key individuals from the Animal Crossing series. In fact, both games have their own made-up languages, and I might go all tinfoil hat here, but hear me out. The images that I am showing you here are examples of the Inkling language from Splatoon and the made-up language in the Animal Crossing series called Animalese. You ever heard of a shared universe? Yeah. I think I have an inkling for a new video soon. There's an official Splatoon Burger King toy. It was distributed to Burger King locations along with the toys from other Nintendo games in Germany, Austria, and Australia. The eye masks that the Inklings and Octolings have on their face are certainly a mystery. The game never explains why they have them, although the developers and designers have mentioned it was to make them look like punk rock musicians with dark, heavy makeup. Although if you look closely at their faces, it appears to be that there is a texture in their eye masks, almost like a rough or dry texture. There are some theories that the eye mask could be a layer of skin to protect them from the sun or something in the environment. Shiver, for example, seems to lack one, and her eyes are shaped like a human's with epicanthical folds. This must mean her ancestors would have grown up in some part of the Splatlands where there's not a lot of sun, but rather dust and sand blowing around. For Fry, her ancestors would be in regions that would have a lot of sun exposure, noticing her tan skin tone and noticeable eye mask. It would only make sense for their families to evolve and adapt genetically to their environment. The third member of Deep Cut before Big Man was going to be an Octarian playing the drums. Even after 3 games, we still don't know what exact species of squid the Inklings are based on. Ever since the first game, people have been speculating species such as the Japanese flying squid, since they are known for their ability to literally sprout themselves out of the water by drawing water into their open mantles and releasing it at high pressures. Another likely species to consider is the Humboldt squid, for their ability to rapidly change color. They're also known for being intelligent and rather aggressive. Though the Inklings themselves are not the smartest creatures, really only caring about fashion, fun, and the lack of motivation to venture beyond what they already know, as stated in the Splatoon 1 art book. Not to say that all Inklings are dumb, the Agent Inklings are all pretty inquisitive and willing to explore the unknown. The Humboldt squid's curiosity, confused for aggressiveness, sounds exactly how I picture the Inklings. Mischievous punk teenagers who have a bit of an intimidating appearance at first, turn out to be huge goofballs and very cheeky. The playable Octolings are a lot easier to decipher what type of octopus they evolve from. People have speculated the Dumbo octopus because of their round ears, large eyes, and overall cute appearance. More notably, specific idols are easier to distinguish for their possible types of their species. For example, Fry is very obviously based off the vampire squid because her noticeable large fangs and spiky appearance. Pearl's Japanese name is taken from the northern pygmy squid, and her last name in Japanese means colossal squid. Marina is thought to be based on the webfoot octopus because, like Pearl, her last name means webfoot octopus in Japanese. The Squid Sisters were theorized for being cuttlefish from their appearances, and also their grandpa is literally named Captain Cuttlefish, but their names derive from a squid species such as the big fin reef squid and firefly squid. Shiver is theorized for being a blanket octopus, and that would mesh well with Fry being a vampire squid, both of which are deep-sea cephalopods. Going back to the Callie and Marie theory in particular, people have speculated that they are not 100% Inkling, but half Inkling and Cuttlefish. In Hikara Walker, the Octo expansion art book, there appears to be an unnamed Cuttlefish idol group that was popular back in the day. They look extremely identical to the Squid Sisters, you could mistake them as such. In Animal Crossing New Leaf's Welcome Amiibo update, when you scan the Squid Sisters amiibos, the villagers Cece and Vishay appear in your town. You're probably asking me, well, what's special about that? Well, they're both squirrel villagers and not an octopus like Inkwell when you scan any of the Inkling amiibos. So why squirrels? It's Nintendo being clever again. Squirrel sounds an awful lot like squid, so therefore, they're the Squirrel Sisters. Haha. Splatoon is a happy little Nintendo game, right? With happy little squid characters shooting ink, right? Well, you ever wonder why the sanitized Octarians are blue in color? That means they're dead. Well, technically they are zombies, since they are reborn, ground up remains of previous Octarians' test subjects. Also, cephalopod blood is blue because the protein that carries oxygen to the cephalopod's body contains copper rather than iron, that gives the red color in human blood. Damn. Splatoon is the first game in the series that removed the gender binary. Now choosing a character to play is all based on appearance. For example, male Inklings and Octolings can wear female hairstyles and vice versa. Clothing that was exclusively laid out in a feminine or masculine way, for example the school uniform, where the female wears a skirt and the male lacks one, is completely gone. In the back of the Splatoon 1 art book, there is a squid manga, which is a series of comic strips. One in particular is called Splatoon Days that shows us some juicy details about Splatoon before it was even released. For example, this idol character who is going up against the main Inkling girl for a competition. She has blue ink and her tentacles are tied in a ponytail. Her outfit resembles one of the Squid Sisters' early designs, notably the rollerblader cheerleading one. This girl is possibly an early rendition of Callie. The comic also shows us where Inklings reside before living in Inkopolis, their family life, and their parents. The main character is the titular orange Inkling girl, and her name is revealed to be Aspara. To be honest, I like Kaori a lot better. She has a younger brother named Trip, who is most likely the titular Inkling boy. This also means that if this is canon, the Inkling boy and girl are not dating or crushes or anything. They're siblings! Unless... Alabama. No, we don't want to think about that, okay? No Alabama. Anyways, Aspara and Trip live with their parents, who are another orange Inkling female and blue Inkling male. The comic shows that by nature, females are naturally orange in color and males are blue. The male hairstyle is also different from the final design, resembling the slick hairstyle from Splatoon 2. They live in a small seaside town with a population of around 5,000. It's also revealed Aspara is a junior high school student, meaning she is around 16 years old, which is no surprise given the fact that the developers originally wanted the Inklings to be around 16 to 17 years old. Her brother drags her out of bed to do morning radio exercises. She thinks it's lame and wants to sneak out to the big city, which she ends up doing. I also love the personalities they give the Inklings. Aspara is the adventurous and free-spirited older sister who is quite inquisitive and doesn't take crap from people. Trip is the anxious and adorable little brother who hates confrontation and loves being attached to his big sis. There is a green Inkling at the end of the manga who looks like to be the leader or someone of higher position in the Squidbeak Splatoon. It's possible this is an early rendition of Agent 3. This could also reveal that Agent 3 and the orange mascot Inkling girl are separate characters. That is, before the final game. There are also some odd things that occur within the manga, which they never explain. They just ended off with "to be continued." For example, the strip has the characters looking at something, shocked while blocking out the words to what it is. And near the end of the strip, there is this mysterious person who is blacked out holding some sort of device, and his speech is also unreadable. The next strips in the manga don't ever bring this up again. This is something left in the dark by the creators of Splatoon, but I'll maybe bring this up in another video. The 3 themes for the Anarchy poisons are based on the 3 poisons in Buddhism. Shiver's mix is the bird, which represents greed, Big Man's mix is the boar, which represents ignorance, and Fry's mix is the snake, which represents wrath. I have a bit of a theory for this. Each character represents each animal based on their desires deep down. Shiver can be materialistic as seen by choosing Team Money and her reasons for choosing Team Palace. She has a sense of entitlement and wanting to do things her way as shown by choosing Team Power in the Zelda Splatfest and in the Shiver vs. Fry vs. Big Man Splatfest. Fry, deep down, is angry. Maybe she never got attention growing up, hence she is obsessed with the public image. She can be impulsive and impatient. Big Man represents ignorance, which in Buddhism means to prioritize one's own pleasure over the suffering of others, which may seem out of character for Big Man, but he does exactly that in Big Betrayal. He creates a song with the Squid Sisters behind Fry and Shiver's backs, which caused unnecessary harm to their friendship. If Big Man would have had told the truth about wanting to go solo with the Squid Sisters, it would have settled things and made him more trustworthy. The thing is, Big Man is indeed allowed to create a song with the Squid Sisters solo, but communication is key. If Shiver and Fry are good friends, they'd understand. If you Google Splatoon, there is an ink splatter icon that appears. When you click it, you can point your mouse and click to shoot ink across the screen. And finally, Splatoon was said to be inspired by Rare's Perfect Dark. Wow, that was a lot of fun. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I love all of you. If you're new to this channel, Subscribe. If you don't have to, I don't care. By the way, I'm an artist, so if you want to check out my art, this is my art right here. You can follow me on all socials. I make little YouTube videos sometimes too. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!